In this video, we are going to use Desmos calculator to summarize, this time, quantitative data. Okay, why is this quantitative and not qualitative? Because this is number. So anything that says number is definitely quantity. Okay, so this is quantitative data. Now, in this case, we're not going to manually count all of these numbers because there's a lot of them and you do not want to do that. That's easy to, make a mistake. So what we're going to do is get the data into Desmos. So let's open up Desmos calculator and we want to save the data into a list. So I usually call it L because that's what Desmos usually has in their tutorials. And so you can do the same thing or you can call it anything you want, doesn't matter, but you have to be consistent. So now we're going to highlight all of these numbers. So I'm just going to highlight them with my mouse. And then you can either right click or you can press Control C. And then when you click inside here, you would press Control V. That is if it's a Windows. If it's a Mac, then would be Command C and then Command V to paste. So I'm going to do Control C. And then over here, I'm just going to do Control V. Okay, so as you can see, Desmos also puts the square brackets for you. So if your data is vertical, you do not need to put square brackets. You already have, it automatically adds them for you. Now we want to know how many times 0 happened, how many times 1 happened, and so on. Now one thing you can do is actually sort your list. So it'll sort it for you. You can click on it and then you can actually manually count how many you see. So that could be one way you can do it. Another way you can do it is through a command called histogram. And because we're going to also have to be able to analyze histograms, match which one's correct, it's good to know what histogram is. So you're just going to say histogram and an L. Okay, leave all the defaults and it's going to give you the same counts. Like here you can manually see that there are 6 zeros, right? And however many ones and so on. But this time you're going to visually see what's happening, but you do have to press on the zoom fit, right? So there is this little button right there, zoom fit, where my mouse is pointing. Okay, so there it is. And then also to make it larger, you can click on the double arrows and that'll make the graph, you can see better. Okay, so you got 6 and you're just reading the heights of each bar. So here it's 10, here would be 5, right? Here it looks like that would be 2, and then 1, 1. Okay, so that allows you to not have it to count, but you can also verify your work by sorting your data and looking at it. Okay, so the next thing to do is to find relative frequencies, which is a similar process that I already explained for categorical data. There is not going to be much of a difference because we already have the frequencies. Now we want to convert them to relative frequencies. Okay, so what I will do is just clear everything at this point. I do not need it. And let me create a new list. F, capital F, equal for frequencies. This time I do need to insert square brackets, and then I just have to type the frequencies, okay, separated by a comma. Okay, so I think I did that. And then we want to convert all the frequencies to relative frequencies by dividing by the total frequency. Okay, so how do we do that? We're going to say round, okay? Then we say F, capital F, divide. So divide is the /, which is the same key on your keyboard as the question mark. Then total, because you're dividing every frequency by the total, and then open parentheses, capital F. So make sure you are consistent because Desmos is case sensitive. If you type a lowercase, it's not going to understand it. And then you want to click after the fraction, so the cursor is blinking after, and then a comma and 3. Okay, so that gives you all your relative frequencies all at once, which is very convenient. So let's just type it. All of these should be numbers between 0 and 1, and they should also add up to 1. So you can check that out if you have time. If you add them, they should add up to 1 or something very close to 1, depending on the rounding. Okay, so this looks like that's correct. Okay, so next question. What percentage of attendees had 2 siblings, reported having 2 siblings? So you got 0.2 for the relative frequency, right? Okay, so how do we convert that to percent? Well, we just multiply by 100. So 0.2 times 100, that would be 20%. Okay, so 20% of attendees reported having two siblings. Now what we need to understand and have on our note card so we don't forget is the difference between at most two and at least two. This is probably one of the most common mistakes people make. So at most two means no more than two, and it includes two itself. It's another thing that people don't realize. So at most two is less than or equal to two. So that means it's either 0, 1, or 2. And what you're going to do is add the corresponding relative frequencies, corresponding 0, 1, and 2. Okay, so let's do that. So 0.24, 0.4, 0.2. Once we add them, because we need to convert the answer to a percentage, we're going to multiply by 100. So here we got 84. Okay, what about at least two? What's the difference? Now, these two events are not mutually exclusive. It's not at most two or at least two. Like you can't just say, oh, this is going to be 16% because the total is 100. That's not incorrect. Because at most two includes two itself, and at least two also includes two itself. So they overlap, so you can't just subtract from 100. So what do? Well, you're going to have to just add the relative frequencies starting at 2 and higher, but include 2 itself. So 0.2, 0.08, 0.04, 0.04. So that's 0.36. Again, multiply that by 100 to convert to a percentage, and that should be it.